Welcome to a Wednesday, February 17th. We are halfway through the week already. Wow, time's sure flying by. For self-start today, we're kind of doing a review of what we did yesterday. So, question number one, when graphing an inequality, when should I use a closed circle? So, closed circle, fill it in. There we go. So you use a closed circle when you want to include that number, which means if you're going to be using a less than or equal to or a greater than or equal to. So that equal to means that you're going to use the number. That's why it's a closed circle. So when graphing an inequality, when should you use an open circle? Well, an open circle does not include the number, so you use it when you graph a less than or a greater than. And last one, write an inequality that describes the graph. So first thing I'm looking at is it looks like it's an open circle right here. So I know it's going to be a less than or a greater than. It's going in the left direction, which is the less than. We're looking for numbers that are less than where we started. We started at 3, so we're looking for numbers that are less than 3. So that would be my inequality that would match this graph. There's your Chuck Norris facts for the day. As far as information goes, you're now down to 2 days until our late work deadline. So that's this Friday. Make sure if you're not going to be here on Friday that you've got all of the stuff turned in that you want to for credit before then, because we will not accept anything after Friday that's late. And lastly, remember, if you want some extra help, whether it's on a feedback or for homework, if we don't call you in, you're welcome just to come on in and come and get some extra help during lunch, and then you can leave when you need to. For today, we've done the self-start. We're moving into our next topic, which deals with 1- and 2-step inequalities. So here's some of the vocabulary that we talked about yesterday. Hopefully you've got those taken care of already. Now, if you're able to solve this type of problem, where you draw the fence and what you do to one side, you do to the other, and you list your answer as x equals 5. If you can do that type of problem, then you'll be able to do this type of problem too, because the process is pretty much the same. We still draw our fence. We still draw our fence. We still do what we do to one side, we do to the other side. And this is the part that's different. And this is the part that actually is probably one of the most missed or biggest oopses people make on the feedback, is people are so used to writing down x equals that when we get to inequalities, that's what they put is x equals. When in fact, you have to bring down the sign. So we started up here with greater than or equal to. We're going to end this type of problem with a greater than or equal to. So my answer would be x is greater than or equal to 5. Now, this will be true to a point, because we'll talk later on Friday, later on this week, about when that is not true. Now, if I were to graph this type of problem, I would start at 5. It's a greater than or equal to, so it's going to be a closed circle. And it's going to be going in this direction, because that's where my arrow is pointing. So we're looking for greater than numbers. So now, if you can do this type of problem by drawing a fence, adding 8 to both sides, that gives me 4f on this side. Let's connect this so it looks like a 4. 20 plus 8 is 28. And divide both sides by 4. We get an answer of f equals 7. If you can do this type of problem, then you're able to do this type of problem too, because again, it's the same process. Draw my fence. What I do to one side, I do to the other side. I have a 4f. I'm going to bring down my less than symbol and get 28. I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And I get an answer of f is less than 7. If I were to graph it, it would be an open circle going in this direction. And there we go. But the process is still the same. Again, notice it's not the variable equals your answer. It's the variable and then an inequality and then the answer. So watch out for that. Don't fall into that oops. So we're going to go through and do a couple of these problems. We're going to draw a fence. What we do to one side, we do to the other. So we're getting rid of the term without a variable first. That gives me a 5n on this side. Bring down my inequality. 45 minus 10 gives me 35. We're going to divide both sides by 5. And we end up with n is less than or equal to 7. So if 7's right here, then it's going to be a closed circle because it's equal to, and it's going to go into this direction because we're looking for numbers that are less than 7. This type of problem, draw a fence. We get rid of the term that does not have a variable first. That gives me 1/7 a is greater than 5. Now that 1/7 and that a, remember, those are connected by multiplication. So the opposite is to divide both sides by 1/7. And that's going to give me a is greater than, and then when I do 5 divided by 1/7, that gives me 35. So if 35 is right here on my graph, we're looking for numbers that are greater than. It's going to be an open circle because it's not equal to, and it goes in that direction. Draw our fence. We're going to subtract 8 from both sides. That's going to give me 12x is less than negative 40 minus 8. Be careful. That's actually going to give me a negative 48. Make sure you use your calculator on that one. We're going to divide both sides by 12. And we end up with x is less than a negative 4. So if negative 4 is right here, it's going to be an open circle because it's not equal to, and it's going to go in this direction. Okay, so this type of problem, we draw our fence. We add 3. Again, use your calculators. That's going to give me p divided by 2 is less than or equal to a negative 16. The opposite of dividing by 2 would be to multiply by 2. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2. And we end up, ooh, that was really bad. We end up with p is less than or equal to a negative 32. So if negative 32 is right here, then we're going to use a closed circle, and we're going to go in the less than direction. So there's some more practice for you. If you need some extra practice, there are some games that you can do in Canvas. They're in the announcements. You're welcome to go to that and just practice away. Play some games while you're at it. If you have any questions, let your teacher know, email or Canvas or however, and we will hopefully see you back soon enough. See you later.